Try HelloFresh UK to get 60% off your first box, 25% off for 2 months, and to, of course, help support this channel. Link is down in the description. Thank you for your support. Well, it's time to manage our first game at Club 3 in this FM24 Head Coach story. If you don't know what we're doing at Kashima Antlers, you need to catch up with the last episode. That one is up in the eye above. But for now, we've got Fukuoka at home, and this is an opportunity to really push on in our career. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 31 of the Head Coach with me, Daniel. We are back today for our first game in charge of Kashima Antlers, 10th v 14th, but the table is tight. We're just 6 points behind the club we've left, who are in 3rd place, and we've got a real opportunity as we'll be facing them in the next episode, along with transfer deadline day. So today, the plan is that we're going to have a look at our tactic. We're going to get through our first game, and we're just going to get through the first couple of weeks at the club, a bit different to normal really, to see what staff come in, whether a new director of football joins. And of course, if we don't get any action, I will show the next game as well. But if you're looking forward to that and seeing how we get on with our new club, the most reputable we've managed in this series, a 3-star reputation club just 4 years in, is pretty remarkable really. Our profile is up there as well, 2.5-star reputation. This is not usual for the start of a head coach save. Japan has been kind to us, but now we need to deliver because we've got a team, we've got the players, and we've got the facilities that should allow us to do so. The only worry is the staffing at the minute. So let's go and have a look at what we've got set up for today, because as you remember, we met all the players in the last episode and we found some real quality. I have also since then been doing a little nose through the youth teams to see if there's any players we could potentially promote. And I'm looking at ones like perhaps Mitoma here and thinking, yes, you would be the sort of player that could go forward. But mainly I was looking to see if there was a good wing back anywhere, even if there were 2-star ability. Not to be, I'm afraid. But despite all the positive news, the finances were perhaps the second thing that caused me some trouble after the last episode, because we came in and we were given a big transfer budget, and the wage budget, well, we're just over it, but there's a few players that are going to be going off soon, so that's not a big issue. What's really a worry for me is the fact that the club's offering that money when it's already in debt. And if you have a look at the last couple of years, it's been dropping off from a very good position in 2023. Now, I assume part of that is due to the stadium, and I assume there's pretty big debts for that. None at all. Maybe that's why there's not any money left in the club. But looking ahead to the next year or two, there's good sponsorships. There's a lot of good stuff at the club. It's just about getting a few players out, isn't it? And it looks like 1 or 2 may end up being sacrificed in the window. But that's for the director of football to worry about. We are going straight into our first game. The dynamics are pretty decent. Even the managerial support is okay, considering we're going to a club reputation that's bigger than our manager one. But the atmosphere is the main thing. We've got mentoring groups set up. We've got training involvement already. But now we've got a big game. We'll keep an eye on our former club, Yokohama FC. They're at home to Kyoto in their first game without us. And if we win and they lose, it could just be a 3-point gap after this one. And of course, Gifu in action as well. But let's get through the tactical meeting. This is the lineup that the opposition have gone for. They're going for that sort of 3-5-2 style. But we've gone for something a little bit different. Very similar in terms of layout to how we were at our former club, Yokohama. We're changing the style a little bit because we've been forced to due to the lack of width. It does mean that with that and a couple of injuries, we've gone for a fairly narrow style in possession when attacking. We're going to try and get an overload through the middle. And the idea really with Sakamoto being an inverted wingback is that he'll almost drift into here or here. And we'll end up with sort of a narrow diamond when we're going in attack. Yes, I'm aware that will mean there's virtually no width other than the one left wingback, but we're going to keep the run at defence on for now despite that, because we've got 2 slightly smaller, cleverer strikers, a number 10 that can do it, and a left wing back, and even the right wing back cutting in is good on the ball. So we're going to keep that style for now, and we'll see if it works out. I don't want to overcomplicate things quickly, so we're going to press. We've got really good fitness in the team generally. We've got a lot of younger players, which is often the problem when we've been coming up through the lower leagues. And I guess the positive, if we do get caught on a counter playing this way, is that we've probably got our strongest area as centre half. Three very good ones with another good one on the bench. The main reason I've left out a Denthal is partly because the three that are playing now were the three that have played together most of this year, but also because a Denthal has not been playing as much. I don't want to risk fitness or partnership, so he'll come back in for the cup game. Zaruki is playing fatigue, but then we'll go and send him for a week off. Everyone else is going pretty well. Ishida's a little bit tired. Araki's coming back from injury and not quite fit. Machino's still out. Watanabe out. But it's a strong side. And if we're being honest, we should be winning this game. But this is the team we've gone for. It is a bit fatigued in areas, but we'll be all right. We've got Bergson between the sticks as the best of the four keepers. Waida, Ibasuki and Watanabe the back three. No natural left-sider there, which is a slight problem. Maybe that's why some of the others were playing. Leader and Sakamoto are the wing-backs, with Heinen and Zaruki the midfield too. And then Watai debutising in the number 10 role behind Suzuki and Ishida up front. Now, I've still gone for him as a target man because he's 6 foot, he's good enough in the air, he's aggressive, he's brave, he's got all of that stuff. But it does give us natural pace going in behind too, and real good finishing instincts, which I'm thrilled about. We might even end up playing positive and on the front foot, but again, I want to keep it as simple as possible for the first game. Because we've got a big break after this, I can almost use it just as a trial match to assess the squad, and then we'll work it out after the cup game. But for now, this is the team we're going for. The one thing I did promise to show you in the last episode and didn't is what tactic they've been playing recently. So if we go back a few games before the manager got sacked and look at the way they were setting up, it was just a classic 4-3-3, which is really weird because they've got so many good centre forwards and centre halves, and they were ignoring all of those things to play as few as possible in each of those positions. Even if you go back to the Sunday before, they were still playing the same tactic, albeit with some of the better players in. So, very odd start to the season. I can see why they were struggling because they've got most of their best players not in the 11. We're going to change that now. There's a few that don't agree with the team sheet, but you're going to have to live with it. This is the way we're going forward, and I'm hoping we're going to get a response. Fukuoka have made 8 changes because they last played in a cup game. They've got most of their first teamers back in. And these lads, we just want a bit of motivation. We've not had much of a response for now, but they should be the better team on paper. There's a few fans in, but perhaps not as big a crowd as we were hoping for. We've got the ball in the first half from the kickoff with Ibasuki. Can we get the dream start? We're with the Antlers and we're keeping the ball at the back. But can we find the spaces? There's Sakamoto cutting in from wing back, dribbling through the pitch. Ishida holds it up. Be great to get it done in an hour so he can have a rest. As Heyman finds Sakamoto. Ibasuki back here again. Out to the wide area for Leader. This is the natural width in the team. Gets to the byline. Playing because Takahashi's knackered. Puts it into the back post. Ishida's up. Goalkeeper's missed it. And it's hit the bar. Underside of the bar. Rolled along the line. And eventually cleared away as Zaruki puts it back in. And it's behind for a corner. That is a very positive first minute. And it was almost a goal. But look at the difference having 2 or 3 players in the box. As Masup will take the corner. To the back stick towards Watanabe. Headed away. Don't know what Suzuki's doing there. And it's a throw-in for Fukuoka. But a positive start. A really aggressive start. But no goal to show for it. As Waida. Big switcher play to Leader again. He finds Watanabe in a centre circle. And now Ibasuki. The one man in this 11 that we've managed before. Up to Massa in the number 10 role. Leader plays it through for Suzuki. He's one-on-one. Across to Ishida. That's why I like having 2 up front. If we can find a way to get it in the tactic, it's always a bit of a treat. 2 top quality centre forwards in this team with another one injured. Why would you have 3 top strikers and play 1 up front? It just doesn't make sense. 1-0 Kashima, a really positive start. I do have to temper expectation a bit. We're at home to a bottom half team. This is not going to be one of the more difficult games we play. But the style of performance is important. We've got to be aggressive and dominant. As Waida gets it in the box. Oh, what a strike. The centre-half scores his first goal of the year. That was an absolute rocket. Zaruki laid it to him on the edge of the box. He had a go. And boy, did that stay hit. To be fair to him, he's got a good long shot rating. And certainly showed it there. A Japanese international with a big goal. And maybe we'll be starting to get these attendances up because at the moment we are playing some lovely stuff. Half an hour gone A dream start as we lead 2-0. Gifu are 1-0 away from home. Yokohama being held 0-0. I love to see how they're setting up today. As Higuchi puts in a corner for the visitors. Don't throw one away. Sakamoto up, it's not clear. Kurosaki, that's poor. With all the defenders we've got in the team, and all of the quality ones as well, we should not be doing that poorly from a defensive set piece. Now, I know it's going to take a bit of time the way we're setting up, but I'm not pleased with that. As Sakamoto puts it in, Watanabe up. Is that an own goal? No. Are my eyes deceiving me? Did that defender literally just volley it into his own net? I'm sorry, we've got to go back and watch that again. He just volleyed it into his own net under no pressure. Look at this, Watanabe across the box. Oh, it's a header. I thought it was the bloke behind him. So it's like there was a player coming in behind him. He's tried to head it over the bar into safety or whatever. And he's just headed it straight into the roof of his net. But there was no pressure on him. There was no communication. And we're now 3-1 up. 2-goal lead restored. And a very good first half performance. Lots of balls into the box. Lots of possession. And lots of set pieces too. And at what point do we make the changes? Because we know there are some tired legs here. And we don't want to risk injuries. As Sakamoto finds Ishida. Good ball to Leader. His shot's brilliantly saved. 3-1 and it should have been 4. I'm very encouraged by what we're watching here. There is a lot of attacking talent in this team. And I don't think many defences are going to cope too well. As Vader, he's waited all season for me to come along. From no goals to 2 in 55 minutes. What a man he is. A screamer and a header. Now if you can find a tap in with his left foot, our centre half will have a perfect hat trick. We've got 65 minutes on the clock, and with us 4-1 up and hopefully safe, I am going to make some changes now. The first one is going to be Nakahara, the young player who's homegrown at the club. He's going to come on for Zaruki, and Hainan will switch sides. Just want to try and keep him safe. Ishida was also struggling a bit. Araki's the only one who can really play up front naturally. Watai, I think, can do it a little bit. No. Sakamoto, can you? Not really. How about Yasuda? Not really. So I am probably going to have to bring Araki on here, I think, because he's the only other player who can go up front. What a bizarre situation. I mean, the other alternative is I could go for 2 number 10s, couldn't I? Yasuda for Ishida. He'll go left of a midfield attacking 2. Suzuki will play through the middle as such. I think he'll be the attacking midfielder, or maybe even an advanced playmaker. Who knows what's best at this point. That's what we're going to go for. Anyone else struggling physically? Not really, but I do want to get a Dentho on. He's going to replace Watanabe. And then I'm going to make sure I get Takahashi on later too. The other 2 are both youngsters. Araki, not so much of an issue. We'll just save his fitness and get the other 2 on in 10 minutes or so maybe. But a really dominant performance, a great display. And we deserve every bit of this. There's now 15 minutes to go. So on will come Takahashi for leader. And we'll also bring on Agawa for Hainan. Will he do okay as a box-to-box? Yeah, he'll be absolutely fine, won't he? Let's go and get through the final 15 minutes here. It is 4-1. It's been a brilliant display. The subs, as you'd expect, have taken a bit of the sting out of the match, but we've produced a really good performance. Yokohama, by the looks, are still 0-0. And they've now gone 1-0 down. Oh my word, this could be lovely. 3 points behind our former club. The right decision may well have been made. There's a few things to work on there. But for a first day in a new job, we only joined yesterday morning. That is not a bad performance at all. Well, Monday afternoon, we've sent a few players on holiday. We're doing our bits of work on the training field. But the big news is that our chairman has spent 210 grand on a new director of football, not helping the financial situation anymore. But Hiroya Ishihara is joining from Tosu for 2.5 grand a week and big money. He's got a 2.5-year deal and arrives just a couple of weeks before the transfer window. But what level of ability has he got? He's good. He is very good. Fairly professional personality, great coaching reputation, good negotiator, which we've not really had so much yet, and great judge of ability and potential. I thought it might be Hiroki Izumi at first because, of course, we did have a great relationship with him before and such success with FC Gifu. But this guy, on paper, is a really good addition. And after 2 years at Tosu, I wonder what he'll deliver for us. So we're going to go and set all the responsibilities that need to him now. We'll be back in a moment with any more news. But if not, there's a cup tie on the way. Well, our second bit of news has arrived. In fact, exactly a week later. But this is potentially good news. An early assessment of your youth intake, which appears to be excellent on paper. Maybe not the golden generation we're expecting, but definitely at least one good centre half, which, given the fact we're going to be playing with three of them regularly, is not a bad bit of news at all. We've also got a transfer window round the corner. We've had a contract offer for our third choice goalkeeper, Jose Suarez. He looks like he's going back to Spain. And there was an offer for Takahashi, but he then had a clause in his contract triggered as well. So all good news so far. Let's go and get through to the game next week. Oh, I missed that one. Oh no. Oh no. Offer accepted for Shogo Nakahara. It's one of the homegrown players as well, isn't it? He wants to go. He's worth more than that. What's the clause here? He's got nothing in his contract. You know what? That's not particularly ideal. We've got a lot of money in add-ons, which will take it past his value. But at the moment, that doesn't look good. I will give one bit of credit to the director of football. He's got a massive sell-on clause in there. 40% is very big for an AI manager. But hopefully there's a chance they'll offer him back on loan, or maybe he'll reject them, which is unlikely. But the big problem with him is it's the homegrown players in the squad, and it's the issue I've talked about here. While the AI director of football has been so improved this season, the fact that they don't understand that we need quality homegrown players for the squad and put a premium on them as a result, it's a real issue for us. But Shogo Nakahara, he's going to be the first one off, isn't he? Oh, it's all starting to go wrong, people. We have got an offer from, is it a Qatari or a Saudi club? It is a Saudi club for Masaki Watai, who played number 10 in the last game. 2.3 million quid is a great sum of money for a player who on 25 grand a week is a squad player. But we cannot afford to lose all these boys unless there's replacements coming in. This is going to be a real test of what the director of football can do, because replacements are going to be needed. That is a big deal. I can understand why that's been accepted completely. But we've got to have replacements. And with the window opening next week, the director of football is giving himself a lot of work to do at his new club. Well, in the end, Jose Suarez has actually left the club now for less than 100 grand, but that's okay, as long as we don't lose any other goalkeepers. Nakahara has agreed his deal with Southampton, but it looks like that one's going through before the start of the transfer window. We've got our cup tie on Wednesday, so we'll probably go just before the game, annoyingly. And then we also tried to get a physio in. Unfortunately, he's rejected us to stay at his club. So, not going great so far on either the staffing or the player front. There are 5 days until our next game, 3 days till the window opens. I'm hoping there's going to be some bids, because at the moment, we're losing some stars. Well, the transfer window is open. Let's have a look at what's been happening the last couple of days, though, because we've picked up an injury to one of our better young defenders. He's out for 4 weeks. Not so much of an issue with the lack of games coming up, but he would have played in a cup game this week. We've also got a contract extension for one of our youngest, best players in the under-21s. We've finally been linked with a player as well. Riasco, he is a centre forward who is not bad at all, but probably doesn't improve what we've got, if we're being honest. Now the window's open though, Ibasuki is worryingly being linked with a club in Saudi. The J1 League window is open though, and these are the players we're being linked with. Riasco we've seen already, but also Haris Tabakovic, who is a 33-year-old free agent striker. Do you know what? I was going to complain about that, but as a target man in the short term, he could be an absolute gem of a player. There's also Diogo Queiroz, who is a 28-year-old Portuguese defender. Pretty good, but again, doesn't improve what we've got. And Kevin Lomanaco, who is another young defender, 25-year-old from Argentina, who isn't that great. So I'm not sure about a few of those signings, but we'll wait and see if any of them are accurate. Quite often, they're nowhere near. Well, as it happens, they might be a bit more accurate this time, because 47 minutes into the transfer window, an offer is made for Haris Tabakovic, a centre forward who, has he got any other interest? Not at the minute, although there are a few German and French and Italian clubs chasing him. We'll see if he comes into the club. Do we have spare foreign slots in the squad? I'm not sure. How many did we play in the last game? 1, 2, 3. So yeah, we might have one slot available. Let's have a look at the offers for Tanaka. He is a 19-year-old midfielder who's okay, but I won't be gutted if he leaves the club, and it looks like at the end of his contract and with loan offers, he might be doing so. Why have we not had them accepted? The director of football is set to do it, and he's not dealt with them. Let's just see if we can do it and then redelegate them. Doesn't seem to be making any difference, which I'm a little bit concerned about. So we'll see what happens with those. We'll come back to it in a minute. But overall, the theme has been so far, sell a couple of very good younger players and sign a 33-year-old up front. Albeit a very good player, not the long-term strategy we were hoping for. Well, we have our first staffing addition since the director of football, and it is an under-18s physio from Gifu. Was he at Gifu when we were there? No, he wasn't, so he's not even an overlap, but he is a decent physio for the 18s and better than most of the senior ones we met. It's an interesting spell actually this, watching the club being built off the pitch, watching a new director of football and his ideas coming in, and while it's not the usual type of episode seeing multiple games, I am finding that I'm learning a lot more about this club, and worryingly, it seems to be quite a short-term approach at the minute. And the exodus continues because just a couple of hours later, Masaki Watai has left the club to go to Saudi, 1.9 million up front, 400 in extra fees as well. Do you know what? It's not a bad deal that. For a player who will be back up when everyone's fit, if we do keep hold of Araki, that is a sensible deal. I can understand that. It's a huge amount off the wage bill as well, which was part of our problem. And in terms of the transfer budget as well, it's going to make a difference. But it only matters if it's used well. And at the moment, there's no sign of that. Well, we reached the day of the next game, but there are problems. Firstly, rejected offers for a young player. Lots of accepted loan ones and end of contract offers as well. But this is the big news. A few hours before kickoff, the first of the 4 homegrown players in the first team squad have left. And unfortunately, Shogo Nakahara, just 18 years of age, is off to Southampton. Now, I understand the lure of this one because despite the initial fee not being great, there are lots of add-ons and there's a huge sell-on clause as well. So for the future of the club, I kind of get it, but it is a little bit disappointing. For him, a great opportunity. And look, he's loan listed. Why couldn't you have just got him back as part of the deal? Would have made huge sense for the club, but oh well. It's not to be, and we're now starting to look a little bit short. That is 2 of the 4 best central midfielders at the club that have already left. We've lost a goalkeeper. We're going to lose 2 or 3 others. I've got a feeling this is going to be busier than I expected for the first window. The club's not in the best financial position. There's an awful lot going on in the background. And I just wonder if we're going to end up with more players leaving than we thought we would. There's that massive money that's been spent on Watanabe, who's a good player, but didn't need to be justified. But that's a legacy move from before we joined. We're going to get through to kick-off time and see what position we're in. I also promised before we finish, we look at Yokohama. We'll see who they've replaced us with, if they've replaced us yet. And we'll also have a look at how they set up last time, because they had a pretty bad day at the office. Well, here we go then. We've reached the cup tie, and there is good news with it in fairness, because Machino is now back up front. He is officially the best striker at the club. And we've also got the return of Araki, who was on the bench, but not really fit last time out. So positives on that front, and he'll of course have to come straight back in because of the other number 10 leaving, but it is one of the big earners off the wage bill, and to be fair, looking at the position we're in at the minute, the finances do have to be prioritised, but only if the director of football replaces them well. Let's head over to Yokohama FC though. They've already dropped down to 5th. Who is their new manager? He's not permanent, he was there already. I'm pretty sure of it. No, he's not. Oh wow. They nicked the Gifu manager again. Oh, that's harsh. The man who replaced us at Gifu, Hinata Kikuchi. Yokohama have gone and nicked them again. It's not just the same outcome because you nick a Gifu manager every time. He's not rated very well, but in fairness, he did a good job to keep Gifu up and supposedly on course to keep them up again. But that is a cruel blow for our first club, who have twice been raided by Yokohama FC. We'll keep an eye on how they set up with him at the helm now, but if we have a look at the schedule, they lost 3-1 at home to Kyoto. Yaneda scored, who was nowhere near our first team 11 at the end. Oh, they played 4-4-2. That's very bizarre. They've put Mizuki Ando, the skipper, straight back in up front, at the expense of people like Ogawa and Takahashi, who were real goal threats. They're playing Fitzwater at fullback. They're playing Sekiguchi out wide. That's really strange. You've got a Chino as well, who should be starting there. And of course, they're having to waste a lot of their slots for the homegrown players. But I did not expect 4-4-2 from that side. It's going to be a long old season if they play that way. We'll see if they've lost any players yet already. Not the case. It's been a much more quiet start to their window. But if we go and have a look at Gifu, have they replaced their manager yet? They have got Yoo Hyun from South Korea, caretaker manager who was in the reserve. So no news there yet, but we'll keep an eye on that situation. Go on, make Hiroki Izumi manager. I dare you. Let's go and have a look at the schedule of when we're going to be back, because it is going to be a former club outing next time. Yokohama FC at home, 5th place at the minute. Will we be above them by the time we come back? Not if we keep losing players at this rate, I can assure you of that. It also coincides with the end of the transfer window, and by the looks of it, it's going to be a much busier one than I liked. I do find it a little bit peculiar that you've got these homegrown players, so Araki being a great example. 10 years as a senior player, he's in his mid-20s, he's been here for the 3.5, 4 years of the save, and now he's being linked with going away. It does seem a bit odd. So hopefully we can hold on to most of the other stars, but a director of football, he's now got a lot of money to work with, and hopefully he will deliver the goods. We'll be back to see if he's rushing at the end of the window, whether we've got a Swiss target man up front, and whether or not we can beat our former club and prove that this was the right decision. I still have faith that we can get something out of this year. Maybe one of the trophies is what we have to prioritise. But did you enjoy this introduction? The first game with Kashima Antlers. And what do you think of all the players leaving the club? What do you think of our new director of football? Have I made the right decision? Or am I going to have egg on my face once this window's finished? If you want to find out the answer and you did enjoy this one, please do put a thumbs up on the video. A very different style of episode, but I thought it was more valuable to show you the inner workings of the club for 2 weeks and how they're setting up. It felt more interesting to try and find the start of the window, what the director of football's doing, etc. We still need more staff, we still need more quality. We've got a tough month of games coming up after the break. So if you want to stay up to date and see how we get on with them, and whether we can finish this season with a trophy somehow, or at least continental football for the first time to help us get recognised overseas, then please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back tomorrow with Southend United. We had a big one in that series yesterday. You can find the whole playlist up in the eye above. There's also links there to the Twitch channel and the football podcast too. And finally, HelloFresh UK in the description below for 60% off your first box and to help support the channel. But thank you very much for watching. I'm a little bit concerned about the players going out of this club. We've got a good director of football. We've now got money in the bank. I'm hoping the next episode will be eventful. Can we beat Yokohama FC and have a good deadline day? We'll be back in a couple of days' time to find out. I'll see you there.